Welcome back to Movies Explained, where we break down all of your favorite movies. Today we are going to recap a drama comedy and romance movie called Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. So without further ado, let's begin. A gray-haired 55-year-old anxious Nancy Stokes is getting settled in the hotel room, while a green-colored eyes handsome sex worker Leo is sitting in a coffee shop. There is a knock on the door and Nancy opens it after drinking her wine. There stands Leo on the other side of the door. As he walks inside, he asks Nancy if he can kiss her on the cheek. Unsure-looking Nancy says yes. He talks with her in a very provocative manner. He assures her that they are going to have a great time, and to ease the tension between them, he asks for a glass of frizz. Nancy tells Leo that she is feeling distracted right now because up close he looks very handsome. She asks him if he have received the contractual money, to which he says yes. She further asks him if he have been doing this long and does he enjoys it. Leo says he is into this business for some time now and he loves it because he meet with all kinds of people with different stories. She asks him what happens when the other person doesn't want to have sex. He replies it hasn't happened yet. He says that she doesn't have to worry. He starts asking Nancy about her desires. She replies to have sex with him tonight. She is feeling very conscious right now because she hasn't done anything like this before. She asks him if she is disappointed. In answer, he kisses her. She says to him, "Can we just get over with it and have sex right now?" Leo laughs and says, "You are meant to enjoy it. It's not an ordeal. We can just sit and talk." She tells him that she is not good with suspense, and she thinks that there is nothing in common between them, so what can they talk about? Leo says that maybe she will end up getting surprised by things they have in common. Nancy says that she is rarely surprised, and she doesn't want anything perverted from him to surprise her. Leo says he won't do anything she doesn't want him to. Nancy confesses she hasn't bought anyone like this before and is afraid that it will turn into a disappointment. Leo says that he is willingly doing this job. She didn't buy him, but she have just bought his service. He inquires that why she is afraid that it will be a disappointment. Nancy answers because she has always been disappointed before and she never had an orgasm. Leo is shocked after listening to this piece of information. She says that after her husband died she decided not to fake orgasm anymore. So if he is unable to give her one, he shouldn't feel bad about it. Leo asks her about her husband. She tells him that he died 2 years ago, and it is her first encounter after that. Nancy says if they end up sleeping together, Leo will be the second man of her life. Nancy gives an option to Leo that if he wants to leave he can, but she will still pay him half of what they agreed on. Leo says that he doesn't want to leave unless he is in physical danger, or he is instructed to leave. Nancy expresses that she feels bad, as she is an ex-teacher who used to stop kids from doing this and now she is hoeing around herself. To calm Nancy down, Leo kisses her and takes her to the bed and tells her to stop worrying. Soon Nancy asks him how old his oldest client was and he answers 82. Nancy gets shocked after listening to this and says that she is feeling a bit better now. He starts getting intimate with her by praising her body. Soon Nancy excuses herself and goes to the bathroom to change. Later Nancy says to Leo that she has changed her mind, but she will still pay. He can get dressed and go. He asks her if she didn't want to do it, why would she book him in the first place? Nancy says it was done in a moment of madness. He asks her does she make rational decisions, and if yes then how this is different, she must have a reason. He tells her that this is what she wanted, but why won't she take it now? She replies that she thought about it for years and she wanted to experience a young body, but now she feels controversial. Leo tells her that he is interested in this, because she is conflicted and being conflicted is interesting for him. While talking more about how weird it is, Nancy started sharing her life stories with him and he also gave his opinion. They get under the cover and starts talking more comfortably with each other. Leo tells her that her mom was strict Catholic Irish. Nancy asks him what his mom thinks about him being a sex worker. He says that she doesn't know. She thinks that he work on an oil rig. Nancy laughs. She tells him about her son, who is doing master, but he is boring. Leo laughs and repeats her words. Then she talks about her daughter who is too wild and with whom Nancy doesn't get along because her daughter thinks that Nancy is cold. Leo concludes that her kids have disappointed her. He asks Nancy that has she ever thought that her son is lying to her about this perfect life because he doesn't want to disappoint her. Nancy seems to be unsure. Nancy shares about her sex life with her husband with Leo. She tells him that there was one monotonous routine they used to follow. She tells him that she have never tried anything except that one routine and then she starts crying about it. Nancy recalls that once she went to Greece with her parents. There was a waiter about 20 years old. He looked at her as she was the most precious thing. One night her parents were asleep, and she went into the garden. There she met the waiter. Without saying a word, He kissed her neck and then let his hand down in Nancy's skirt. Suddenly a car started, and the boy ran away. Next day she went back home, but it was the most amazing feeling in her life, she says. While Nancy is telling this all, Leo is listening to her very carefully. He takes it as opportunity and kisses Nancy. After a few days, Nancy is sitting in the same room of the hotel, as she has ordered Leo's service again. This time she doesn't seem nervous. Leo knocks on the door and say that it is a nice surprise that she have booked him again. She tells him that this time there are some attainment goals for sex while offering him wine. She starts reading her list to him. After listening to it, he says that it all sounds achievable. Nancy asks if she have booked enough time with him. Leo says she wants to do it all in one day. Nancy replies that he is expensive, and she is not sure if she will be able to book him for the next appointment. He says that they will do much as they can today. Nancy is too uptight. Leo tells her to let go of the things inside her that grips her, judges her, and watches her from the outside. They start with the first sex goal on Nancy's list. But Nancy gets a phone call from her daughter. While she moves aside to talk to her daughter, Leo seems sad while listening to her. As Nancy comes back, she says they should go through what they are going to do. Leo sarcastically says there is no exam. He then starts dancing with Nancy to ease her up. She says that they should hurry up because she has booked him for only 2 hours. She starts talking about her husband, how he used to plan everything and never wanted to try something new. Her relationship with her husband didn't have any passion. She says that she wanted to try something new thing now. Then they again try to get intimate, but Nancy still cannot loosen up. Leo plays a song and both of them dance, but Nancy again gets a call in the middle of the dance. It's from her daughter Pamela. While she talks to her, Leo looks outside sadly. After the call, Nancy tells Leo that how stressful it is being a parent. She says that she could have done so many things if she wasn't a mother. Leo offers her a massage after the stressful call, which she accepts happily. While giving Nancy a massage, Leo asks her that did her kids feel the disappointment she has for them. She says she doubt it. She counters questions him that does he notice when her mother feels disappointed. He dodges the question by reminding her there is still left for her appointment. Nancy then asks Leo to take his shirt off. Then she asks for permission to touch him. He nods. She touches his body, but the moment they get amorous, Nancy steps back and asks him to wear his shirt again. She says she has never felt anyone like him before who is muscular, fit, and young. It is overwhelming for her. He says he works out because he likes if someone looks at him. He asks her to come toward him and look into the mirror with him. She tells him how insecure she is with her body. He unbuttons her shirt while she looks at the mirror. He says that her body is beautiful. He wishes that she could see it. He advises her to love her body. Out of nowhere, she asks him if Leo Grande is his real name. He says no and asks is Nancy Stokes her real name, to which she says no as well. Nancy says that she thinks that his generation is quite anxious but are full of energy. All they need is war. It will be self-correcting. Leo tells Nancy that his brother is in the army who he loves deeply, but he doesn't know what Leo does for living. Leo changes the conversation and says that let's try role play. He starts narrating a role play of a teacher and a student. Nancy gets offended by it, and she says she wants to feel young again. Nancy asks Leo if have he ever been into trouble because of his job. Leo tells her he doesn't solicit money for sex. He sells his company by providing interesting conversations. There is nothing illegal about it. He says that's why he tends to recommend more session because he is looking for more regular clients. Nancy gets mad because she thinks Leo is trying to sell himself to her. She says she is not a rich woman who can afford his multiple sessions. She asks him to give her what she is here for so they both can go home. Leo seems offended by it but obey her orders without saying anything. As they start, Nancy gets panicked and say that this list is a stupid idea. Leo says that she doesn't have to do any of it at all. She replies that she is scared that she won't like it, or he won't like it. Leo says she can try and see. There is no harm in it. Leo further says that everyone needs something different. Maybe she just needs to talk. He then starts sharing his experiences with his weird client just to make her feel at home. He says he doesn't judge his clients and she is definitely not weird at all. Nancy says that he sounds like a sex saint. Both of them get into a conversation that how sex work should be legalized to prevent many problems. Leo says he loves the feeling he gets when he looks at someone's face and they feel satisfied. This discussion arouses Nancy and she ends up completing her first goal, which is blow job. On a rainy day, it's the third meeting where they are having sex, but Nancy still can't have an orgasm. Nancy tells Leo that he is good at his business. Nancy wants to know him personally, but Leo says it is not necessary. She says that she has got something to tell him. since he won't open up about himself to her. She did some research on him, and now she knows his real name is Connor. Leo gets up from the bed, starts dressing. He tells her that this is their last meeting. Nancy says that he is ashamed of his profession. Then she brings up his mother and says that she can talk to her for him. Upon listening his mother's name, Leo gets very offended and tells her that he is dead to his mother. He then leaves. A little after, there is the knock on the door again. Leo comes back to get his phone. As he can't find his phone, he starts hitting the bed in anger. He tells Nancy that his mother had left him to fend for himself when he was 15. Nancy asks why did she disown him. He says he just disappointed her. He then says that his mother was like Nancy. She did everything right. He then starts crying while saying that she didn't like his existence. He says that she should quit judging him, while Nancy says sorry to him. He then leaves. After a few days, Nancy is sitting in a restaurant waiting for someone. Suddenly, a waitress, Becky, in the restaurant recognizes that Nancy used to teach her. She asks her what is she doing there. Nancy tells her that she is meeting a friend here. While they were chit-chatting, Leo appears. Looking at how young Leo is to be Nancy's friend, Becky questions Nancy that is he the friend she was waiting for. But before Nancy could reply, Leo tells her that he is here to sell his car to Nancy. Becky then goes away while they both sits down. Nancy says that he came. He replies that he wasn't sure that he is going to come and meets her. She tells him that he have helped her a lot last month and she has recommended him to her friends. Leo says that he appreciate her. She further tells him that her real name is Susan Robinson. He is the only adventure she had. Becky reappears and tells Leo that Nancy used to be her teacher. Leo asks, was Nancy a good teacher? Becky replies she was alright but uptight. She was not bad except for this one time she told all the girls that they are slut in an assembly. Becky leaves to get their bill. Leo tells Nancy that he has told his brother about his job. His brother is okay with it. His brother told him that his mom never talks about him. He tells Nancy that one night his mother was gone for the weekend. He had some friends over after exams. They put on some music and drank some wine. His mother and the neighbor walked onto them while their bodies were wrapped up together while having sex. She was humiliated by him and kicked him out. He saw her in the street after a few years and she didn't recognize him. Nancy tells him that there is nothing wrong with him. Right at that moment, Becky comes with their check. Nancy apologizes to her for calling her slut back in days. She reintroduces Leo to Becky. She tells her that he is a sex worker and they have been sleeping together for a few weeks now. She tells Becky both of them will be leaving for their room now as she has some time left in her consultation hours. They both go to the room and have sex. Finally, she experiences an orgasm in the end. She says goodbye to Leo Grande and wishes him good luck, and the movie ends here. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, then please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. We will see you in the next one.